Yeah.
Like, go, you know me, do some effort, go give me something. Yeah. You know what I like. You know,
you're the worst.
Otherwise, just let me. I
let everybody off the hook. I'm like, give me a gift card.
Yeah. Or well, within my family, we don't even do that anymore because it became a gift card exchange. So now it's just like, you know what? I'm going to get myself something for myself.
Wow. And from you.
And you get something for you.
Wow.
We'll just do our own thing.
That's
you know?
how bad it's devolved.
Yeah, but like I appreciate when people put in effort to go get something, and like. I noticed that you were looking at this in the store and you never really got it for yourself. So I went and I got it for you.
Made the effort.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's really cool. Now, when you do that, occasionally you're going to strike out.
Right.
You know, you're not always going to be 100%.
When you strike out on expensive symbolic jewelry.
Yeah, well, it happens. But
we need some women feedback on this one.
Yeah, we do.
We really need a female to tell us, listen, I liked the ring, but here's why I don't wear it. Like, there's probably a third way that's between rejection honestly, and not caring.
I like your watch example.
Right.
Okay, what if she came from a culture where watches were symbolic of something, and a watch meant that you and I are joined.
It's
like
meaningful.
we've got matching iWatches or smartwatches, right? Okay. So that means something to me.
Right.
But then you get it and you're like, yeah, this is cool, but I've got this other watch that I really like, and it's more me. So you start wearing that other watch. Well, she's like, but this is a symbol of our love and all that. And well, to you it is.
Yeah,
but it may not be to somebody else.
All right.
So there, and I get your point that yes, wedding rings are symbolic of something.
Yeah.
But she may be looking at this as like,
it's just jewelry.
I have a ring.
Right.
This ring is symbolic of us.
Right.
This engagement ring is symbolic of us. Why does it have to be this engagement ring and this wedding ring?
Right.
Why can't
the
I
finger's
just
taken? Who cares? Okay, I'll accept that premise, but let's now reach to the back shelf.
Okay.
Because there was a huge little nugget here. She's not changing her last name. Now, I don't hear him saying she refuses to. I hear him saying she claims that she's too busy, and it's just adding fuel to the fire. So let's step away from the question literally, and let's take this to the symbolic discussion.
Right.
What is your view on whether or not people should be changing their last name when they get married?
Don't care, as long as it was agreed upon.
Okay.
I mean, that's something that should be discussed in advance of getting married.
I sure as hell hope so.
That's not something that you want to just like spring on somebody at the end. Because that, again, that is another really good example of symbolism and how something symbolizes something to some person, but it may not have that weight or that symbolism to the other person. Okay. The other person may just say, well, yeah, but it's, you know, for one person, they may say it's very important that my wife shares the same last name as me. But then the woman may say, but that's old, that's outdated. That doesn't have the same symbolism to me today.
Would you feel at all insecure if you marry this person and this person says, listen, I'm not taking your last name and also I'm not wearing a ring?
Yes.
You would feel a little insecure with that?
Not wearing any ring at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not taking your last name.
Yeah.
And never changes their Facebook status.
Oh, that's too far. Well, that's gone too far.
The Facebook status is the one that counts. I'll let the ring thing go. I mean, you don't even need to live in the same place with me. But by God, that Facebook status is changing.
Let's not be ridiculous.
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic, though. I've seen everybody do it different ways, right? I think I actually concur with your point. Every couple gets to decide for themselves what marriage gets to look like for them, according to their culture, according to what they believe is good. There's a lot of tribalism I'm noticing where I've seen a feminist movement erupt that says, do not take his last name. It's a betrayal of values. And, you know, I feel like that's a bit forceful. Like, I think that each individual couple ought to decide for them personally what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I know for my wife, she's told me even if we ever get a divorce, she's keeping the last name because she's cool with it. It's been hers now for like over a decade. It's the name of her children and she doesn't care anymore. And so like, I was like, okay, like that's an interesting thing. So I've seen people do that. I've seen people hyphenate it, obviously. I've seen one situation where the guy took the girl's last name and they hyphenated both. So he added her last name to the hyphen, and then they both adopted that new last name.
Yeah.
And then I have seen one situation where there's a woman whose last name was Sugar, and she married a dude with the last name Cookies, and they hyphenated that. Because that had to happen.
I need proof.
Oh, I'll show you. I'll show you on Facebook.
That's too perfect.
She's out there.
Sugar Cookie.
Yeah. Carly's out there. I'll show you.
Oh my God.
Unless they got a divorce. That was the deal.
Sugar and Cookie separated. That'd be terrible.
Yeah. No, it can't have it. Yeah. You got to stay together for the fame.
That's awesome.
That's Good Morning America worthy. You'll get an appearance on Oprah for that.
Yeah, we need to have them on the show.
Yeah, just for that reason. Yeah. I don't care how uninteresting they are. So it sounds like your advice to the writer, though, is dig deeper, find out what the meaning of this is, but otherwise don't overreact.
But I wouldn't overreact. But here's the other thing, too. I do get the sense that there's more going on than...
Yeah.
Assuming she had at one point agreed, yes, I'm going to change my name. We're going to have the same last name. And she just hasn't gotten to it. And say she was, I'm okay with wearing the wedding ring, but then she just doesn't. There's more going on. There's something that she is uncomfortable with that she obviously doesn't feel comfortable enough to talk about.
Right. And you know what? I'll add one more line to this. So the other thing about this writer that's interesting is he's a rookie husband. Okay. He's brand new. And let me tell you something, rookies. Okay. This is how you learn not to buy expensive jewelry. Because here's the deal, okay? Like, we can talk about whether or not you should do this. Get to know your mate, because if this is who they are, that they appreciate it and you get hugs and kisses because you bought them this expensive jewelry, but they're never, ever, ever going to wear it. It's going in a jewelry box for the rest of all time because they'll never pull it out and actually wear it. Think carefully about that investment. Like, should you be spending $5,000 on something that they will look at and cherish for a week and then put away? Maybe not. Like, spend $5,000 on a Carnival cruise. So think this through. Like, get to know your mate. The other thing that jumps out of this story to me is, hey man, learn from this. Not to punish her and never buy her jewelry again, but clearly that's not her love language. Like, clearly it doesn't have a lot of meaning that she wants to wear this. So don't punish her for it. Learn from it. Don't resent her for it, but learn for the future that when you want to do good for her, jewelry might not be the way that you show her affection.
Yeah. And, folks, write in. I'm interested to get everybody's take on this.
I need a woman to write in on this one.
Yeah, we need some.
Yeah, I need a female listener to write in and go, all right, dummies, here's how this works. Please guide us, women.
Which actually is a great segue into our next segment.
Yes.
Which is stuff we need to apologize for again.
This is our new end of show segment now.
I think this is a good way to end the show.
Yeah.
We just apologize for everything we said in the last show.
We just about everything in the last show and burned the episode.
Although this isn't really an apology. So, one of our listeners wrote in, and she did a pronunciation.
A phonetic. She gave us the phonetic pronunciation of her name.
Manuela.
Okay.
Manuela.
Got it.
But she did say she goes by Manu.
Okay.
Which is awesome.
Hi, Manu.
Because that's two syllables. I can handle that. Actually, she had some really interesting takes on the gaslighting that we talked about last
there was
episode.
A lot of feedback on gaslighting.
Yeah, which was good.
Good feedback.
So with the gaslighting, because here again, we were two white heterosexual males talking about a phenomenon. We had no other perspective other than our own.
Right.
I even asked...
And we didn't like the stigmatizing of it.
Right.
Like, that was our beef.
I asked Laura what she thought about it.
Your girlfriend.
And she's like, I actually just fast forward through it.
Oh, burn.
All right. That's all the feedback I needed.
The verdict is there. Oh, it hurts.
So, Manu, I'm not going to read your whole thing. She sent us a really long email, which was all great, but I'm just going to summarize it. So some important points that I got out of her email was one of the things that she talked about was the power differential that we didn't take into account.
Okay.
And I would agree with that.
So
100%.
When the person who's sort of doing the quote unquote gaslighting has more power in the relationship, there's a danger to that.
Right. And it kind of goes back a little bit to what we had talked about as far as kind of the purpose behind it, or what's actually going on. What is their intent with the quote unquote gaslighting?
Yeah.
And what are they trying to accomplish? So if there's a big power differential between the two, there's going to be a bigger effect. That gaslighting has a bigger effect on that person.
That's fair.
I would absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So, and she kind of goes on to that point too, that the why is important. So the intentional act of manipulating to maintain control, that's a very important piece to this. She also agreed with that the article itself wasn't very helpful, which point of agreement there.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the power differential, one thing that I would encourage all of our listeners to take a look at, the Minnesota Duluth Power and Control Wheel.
Oh, yeah. The Minnesota Duluth
Yeah,
Power
it was
and Control
created,
Wheel.
I think it's Minnesota Duluth. I'm like 98%. It was created by the University of Minnesota Duluth. They created this powered control wheel it basically breaks down all the different components involved in a power manipulating relationship.
Right.
Where there's a big power differential. So we see this a lot in domestic violence relationships and just any kind of unhealthy relationship. We see a lot of this. The reason why I want to point that out is because, in my opinion, that does a much better job of explaining power differentials than gaslighting.
Right.
Because the issue that we had with gaslighting last week is the same issue I still have it with it this week, is that the term gaslighting is too broad. It's too general.
It's an unhelpful idea.
It doesn't help us get to a solution. Whereas if we look at the Minnesota Duluth Power and Control Wheel, it breaks down all those little segments. So the things in which someone would use gaslighting in, you can actually look at that wheel and you can see how it would be used.
Okay.
That's more beneficial for me as a therapist, or even as somebody in a relationship, to look at, because I can see, like, I can visualize that. I know what's going on. I know what to do with that.
I like that. Right. And that was our big beef, was that gaslighting is an unhelpful term because it's too vague and it's weaponized and it's pushing people away from communication rather than engaging.
Yeah, so and it focuses on a larger issue where it's kind of like, it's so big I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Minnesota Duluth Power and Control Wheel, you can go right to it, like, oh, I see what's happening here. Right. I know what to do with
But I
this.
really did appreciate Manu's, feedback, especially about the power differential, because in the workplace, that's an aspect we didn't think about.
Right. That's a good point. I didn't consider that at all.
Yeah. And so this is exactly why we need your feedback, guys. Anytime you ever hear a segment and you think, man, I have some notes on that, or I just want to weigh in, tweet to us, Facebook us, or email us. You can always email podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And then, of course, facebook.com/podtherapy, or Twitter is just @podtherapyguys. But, we love getting that feedback. It's huge. So Definitely. We need it.
And she finishes up her email with, thank you for all the support. Oh, and if there's any way I can contribute to the show, please let me know. Yes, there is. You can find the guys who broke into Level 9 Studios.
And bury them in the desert.
Call Crime Stoppers and report them so we can get back to the studio.
That's right.
So we don't have to record.
That's right.
In our little blanket
share
forts
the podcast anymore. Is probably the best thing I would ask, is share the podcast.
And continue to stay active. Keep writing us. It's fun.
That's right. We need the feedback. That's all the time that we've got for this week's session. Thank you to those who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Help us reach others by sharing this episode. You can find us at facebook.com/podtherapy or on Twitter @PodTherapyGuys.
Do you want to add your own advice to today's questions? Post your thoughts at podtherapy.net and join the conversation. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Jim Jobin.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.